Well, hi everybody, this is Mark, and this is the ongoing video series, Mark's Prostate Cancer Experience. This is video number 14 in my series, and right now we're at about 4.5 months after my prostate removal surgery and prostatectomy, and I recently had my second PSA test, and I'm very pleased to report to all of you out there that my second PSA test came back with 0. So this is once again a great indicator that the prostate, having been removed, was removed with all the cancer intact. Normally what will happen is after your prostate cancer surgery at about the 8-week mark, you're going to have your first PSA test, and the PSA, the antigens that are generated by prostate cancer are measured by this PSA blood test, which every male over the year of 40s, from your 40s onwards, should have a PSA test at least once a year. But basically, if there's cancer present, generally speaking, it produces this antigen, and it's very easy to detect with the test. So once the prostate has been removed, and your first test at 8 weeks shows 0, it's a really good sign. But now it's about 3 months after that, and every 3 months for your first year after your surgery, you're going to have another PSA test. And so I'm delighted, of course, that it came back 0. So in another 3 months, I will check it again. And after the first year, you'll change your frequency to about once every 6 months. And then beyond that, once a year for about a 5-year period. The statistics show that after 5 years, if you're still showing a 0 PSA count, you can pretty much rule out the fact that it will ever recur. Even at the 0 count that I'm at now, at about the 4-week mark, 4-month mark, I should say, I've got pretty much a confident feeling that there's never going to be a recurrence of it. If there is, there's some radiation treatments available that should take care of the rest of the problem. But so far, so good, and I feel good about it. So what does 4 months look like? Well, if you've been following my videos 1 through 13, I've chronicled the whole experience from the surgery itself to the recovery to the weeks that follow. And of course, the 2 areas of concern for most men are after surgery, will I be continent, and will I suffer from erectile dysfunction? Now, I'm really lucky because I came out with flying colors. My surgeon was Dr. David Samadi, who performs his surgeries out of New York City at the Lenox Hill Hospital. I call him the best guy in the world ever to treat prostate cancer. His robotic system, which is the Da Vinci system, gets into your system, removes the prostate, puts everything back together as it should be, and from day 1 onwards, I had full continence. I had purchased all kinds of pads and things to take with me just as a precaution, and I've never really had to use them. What will happen from time to time, because your prostate does act as a valve for urine coming out of your bladder, even when you have full control, there are going to be the occasional times where you'll have a little bit of leakage. Nothing that will disturb you, nothing even to really think about. But sometimes what I do, if I'm going out on a full day of meetings and I'm wearing a very light colored suit, this has not happened yet, but Depends makes a very, very thin shield, which I'll put into my briefs just as a precaution. It's never been wet. It's never, it's just peace of mind, just in case that happens. But as time goes on, I'm less and less worried about that because it just doesn't happen. The leakage, doesn't happen. There have been a couple occasions, 2 that I can remember, where I had a lot to drink out at a party, and I guess I just wasn't holding properly, and a little more leakage happened than I would have anticipated, but those were kind of one-off incidents, and I don't really kind of worry about them. So the other thing is erectile dysfunction, and this is going to be an area that you won't have your full ability to regain an erection right away. This is something that will come back over time. Normally what you'll do your first 30 days after surgery, you'll be on a 5 milligram Cialis daily dosage. And with the Cialis, and you've seen the commercials on TV for daily Cialis, Cialis is in a category that you'll also find drugs like Viagra, and I think Levitra, is that in there as well? But what they'll do is for the first 30 days, a 5 milligram dosage of Cialis is a very low dosage. For example, men that take Viagra on a regular basis take about 100 milligrams of Viagra to get an erection when they really can't. So a 5 milligram daily dosage of Cialis, the idea there is to enhance blood flow in the area where the surgery was performed. And that in fact helps the nerves that are responsible for creating an erection get back to health and get back into shape. So what will happen is after the first 30 days, I was taking Cialis for about 3 months, and I just decided to stop, and I realized I didn't really need it anymore. So for those of you that are concerned about erectile dysfunction, it'll take a while. With every passing week, it seems, and certainly with every passing month, you will find yourself getting closer and closer to the types of erections you used to have. It's not 100% yet, but I can definitely say I would call it 80% of where I used to be. There is no loss of pleasure, there is no loss of sensation. So even if you can't get a full erection, even a partial erection will be very satisfying for you. And I know this is a very personal thing to be talking about, but I want you to not worry about being able to have sex after the surgery, because you will get back to yourself and it will turn out beautifully. I promise you that. So anyway, I hope if you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, that this video series is helpful to you. I'm going to keep updating these videos every couple of months just to see how my progress has come along. I'm at a point now, like I said, at about 4 months later, I don't really think about it anymore. I just celebrate the fact that I have a PSA test that comes back with a score of 0, and it's a great thing to celebrate. Your outlook on life changes a little bit, because once you've survived something like cancer, you do for the first time in many cases, as it was for me, you really think about your mortality. And the fact that I have this behind me has given me not so much a new lease on life, but I think a new appreciation on every day of life. So anyway, if you happen to ever have questions or want to get some guidance as to what to experience, feel free to reach out to me through this YouTube channel. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, and I think I've been through a very typical example of what the outcome can be. If you prepare yourself effectively before the surgery, and if you work with the right surgeon, you will have a great outcome and life will continue on afterwards. Okay, so hopefully that'll help you. Stay tuned and let's hear from you.